At exactly 2:17 a.m., a fixed security camera inside the hospital recorded a woman walking down a quiet corridor toward the exit. The image is clear. The camera does not shake. The timestamp is intact. She is walking at a normal pace. Not rushed, not hesitant. Her posture is upright, steady, familiar, as if she has already decided where she is going. She does not look lost. She does not look confused. No one walks beside her. No one appears behind her. No one steps in a frame to slow her down or ask a question. The hallway is empty. The automatic doors ahead of her begin to slide open. Their motion is smooth, unremarkable. There is no alarm, no warning light, no reaction from staff. She passes through the doorway alone. The doors close behind her. That moment, captured in a single, ordinary recording, is the last confirmed image of her existence. There are no verified sightings after that frame. No security footage from outside the building. No witnesses who can say they saw her walk away. The camera does not show where she went. It only confirms that she left. Nothing in the footage suggests urgency or danger. Nothing explains why this moment would later matter. And yet, everything begins here. She was never seen again. The night she left, the hospital was operating under routine conditions. It was a standard overnight shift. No emergency alerts had been issued. No unusual incidents were reported in the hours leading up to her departure. The emergency room was quiet. Monitors beeped softly at regular intervals. Fluorescent lights cast an even glow across clean, polished floors. Staff members moved through the department, as they always did, checking charts, updating records, speaking in low voices. Earlier that evening, the woman had requested to leave the hospital on her own. She was not formally discharged by a physician. She signed paperwork indicating that she was leaving voluntarily. Her file listed no immediate family contacts, no spouse, no children, no emergency phone number. She did not ask for a ride. She did not wait in the lobby. She did not request assistance from hospital staff. The paperwork was processed and filed according to protocol. Nothing in the system flagged her departure as unusual or concerning. To the people working that night, she was simply another patient who chose to leave. Patients sign themselves out every day. It is not uncommon. It rarely requires follow-up. At the time, there was no reason to believe this decision would lead to anything more than an empty bed by morning. No one made a note. No one asked additional questions. No one watched to see where she went. Everything about the situation appeared ordinary. It was only later, after she failed to appear anywhere else, that this quiet, uneventful night would be examined again, piece by piece. At the time, nothing stood out. Nothing suggested she would vanish. When investigators later returned to the security footage, they noticed something that had not stood out the first time. The woman was not wearing a coat. Outside temperatures that night were low enough that anyone stepping outside would have felt the cold immediately. Other patients leaving the hospital earlier that evening were visibly dressed for winter. She was not. She walked down the corridor with bare hands. No bag, no jacket, no visible personal belongings. As she approached the exit, her pace slowed slightly. Not enough to appear uncertain, just enough to suggest intention. She stopped near the automatic doors. The pause lasted only a few seconds. She turned her head and looked back down the hallway. The camera captures the full length of the corridor behind her. There is no one there. No staff member following. No patient approaching. No movement of any kind. She does not speak. She does not gesture. She simply looks. Then she turns forward again. The doors begin to open. The moment passes quickly, but it would later become one of the most closely examined details in the case. Why she paused, why she looked back, what she may have been waiting for or listening for. No explanation was ever attached to those seconds. The footage offers no answers, only the suggestion that something, however small, interrupted her movement. After that brief hesitation, she steps forward. She crosses the threshold. The door slides shut behind her, and the hallway returns to being empty. By the next morning, the room she had occupied no longer showed any sign of her presence. The bed was neatly made. The sheets were smooth. The chair beside the bed was pushed back into place. There were no personal belongings left behind. No clothing. No paperwork. No items that suggested someone had stayed there overnight. Staff members could not say exactly when the room had been cleared, only that it had been prepared for the next patient early that morning. Her medical record was still in the system, but when it was reviewed more closely, parts of it were missing. Not corrupted, not erased, simply absent. There were gaps where notes should have been, times listed without corresponding details, entries that referenced information no longer attached to the file. No explanation was provided for why those sections were gone. Later that day, a nurse recalled a brief interaction from the previous night. She remembered the woman standing near the doorway, preparing to leave. Calm, composed. Before walking out, the woman had asked a single question. Is it safe to go now? The nurse could not remember how she responded. She could not recall what prompted the question, only that it was unusual enough to stay with her. At the time, it did not seem important. Patients asked questions every day. It was only afterward, once the woman could not be located, that the question took on a different weight. No one has ever explained what she might have meant. Once it became clear that the woman had not returned, authorities began searching the area around the hospital. They started with the immediate surroundings. Sidewalks, parking areas, nearby intersections. No one reported seeing her outside the building. Security footage from neighboring locations was reviewed. No camera captured her leaving the hospital grounds. No image showed her walking away. There were no confirmed sightings. Her phone was never located. It did not ping nearby towers. There was no record of activity after she left the building. Her bank accounts showed no transactions, no withdrawals, no purchases, no movement of any kind. Days later, investigators confirmed the existence of a voicemail. The message was time-stamped minutes after she exited the hospital. Officials acknowledged that the recording existed. They did not release its contents. No transcript was provided. No explanation was offered for why the message was withheld, only that it was part of the case file. The search continued for several days, then weeks. Nothing new emerged. No witnesses came forward. No evidence surfaced. No pattern became clear. What remained were records that stopped abruptly, a timeline that ended without transition. The absence of information became the most consistent feature of the case. There were no signs of struggle, no indication of foul play, no explanation for how someone could leave a hospital and disappear completely. The investigation slowed, and then quietly it stalled. The footage ends at the doors. The camera was never meant to capture what happened outside. Once she crossed that threshold, there was no further record of her movement. No explanation was added to the file. No conclusion was written. The case remains open. There is no official account of where she went or what happened next. Only a hallway camera, a brief pause, and a door that closed behind her. Nothing after that moment has ever been confirmed.